Events and characters in this novel are works of speculative and fictional entertainment. I do not condone any form of unethical behavior portrayed in this work. This novel is not intended to be propaganda of any kind and is intended for entertainment purposes only. Data files start word count. 4111, Winter Heart data log, January 3, 2088. The Winter Heart. A large blocky spacefaring vessel lifted itself from the Earth using 4 massive thrusters on its sides, exiting the Earth's atmosphere, turning towards a megastructure in the outer orbit of Earth. The bridge of the vessel was quiet. Officers only ever spoke when required. On an elevated section of the bridge, 6 seats were surrounded by various consoles and equipment. For commanding officers were seated, focused on their own tasks, only ever glancing at each other as they waited for their colleagues to arrive. The silence would be broken when the bridge's doors opened with a hiss. 2 women walked in, wearing formal black attires. Their appearances looked otherworldly. "Lena, who is she?" spoke a brunette Caucasian man wearing the deep blue uniform of the Weber Corporation, a similar color to his eyes. "This is Vera Novikova. She will be our data reader for this operation." Lena, a woman with silver hair, her blue eyes reflected light as she explained. Beside her was a fox-eyed woman with long black hair, eyes glowing red as she observed the room, her ghostly white skin reflecting the blue light of a nearby console. "Where is the other one?" a thin-haired, middle-aged Slavic man in a green naval uniform asked in his heavy Russian accent, his blue eyes tinged curiosity. "Dylan is busy. The centate put his post elsewhere," Lena explained. Vera looked to Lena with disbelief in her red eyes, grabbing Lena's wrist and pulled her towards a corner of the room. "Why are they here?" Vera crossed her arms. "Like I said, a dozen outposts on the outer regions of the solar system have gone radio silent. I didn't tell you this earlier, but not just the Imperial Republic lost their signals. Other factions have lost their own," Lena explained, holding Vera's shoulders. "You're asking me to work with them? Those captive were threatening to nuke us a week ago." Vera explained her plight as the Slav glanced at Vera. "Vera, I know that you despise them, but this is necessary. Why am I even here? I'm too overqualified to work with these imbeciles. You know that." "I can hear you," the Slavic man interrupted, rolling his eyes, turning his chair towards the 2 women before continuing. "I don't want to work with you either. No one here wants to be here. The sooner we finish this operation, the sooner we'll be able to start killing each other. So for the love of God, stop whining and sit on your chair." About a dozen crewmen on the bridge turned their heads towards the commotion. Curious about the Slavs' unexpected outburst, they whispered amongst themselves. An African woman brought herself to the middle of the room. Her golden-colored eyes and wavy hair caught Vera's attention as she spoke. "There is no need for verbal abuse. It is inappropriate. Let us air out our grievances at a later date." Vera glared at the officers before her, using her neuro, a neural implant, searching for their identities in the available database. The Slavic man was a Russian naval officer with a cybernetic implant in his ears, Dmitry Petrov. The database Vera accessed revealed that he was rather unremarkable. The white man was an American executive of the Weber Corporation, Mark Sullivan, remarkable in certain aspects such as management. The African woman was a biological researcher and doctor from the African Federation, Aisha El Masri. The data available confirmed Vera's suspicion that she had undergone cosmetic modification. There was another officer in the corner of the bridge who Vera almost missed. An Arabic man quietly reading the Book of Islam. His rough tan skin contrasted the white pages, his sharp brown eyes, long black hair and beard concealed his young appearance. The database revealed that the man was a naval officer from the Federation of the Crescent, Omar al-Farouk. Vera sighed and sat down quietly, Lena doing the same moments later. The crew resuming their tasks. Mark tapped at Lena's shoulder and asked, pointing to Vera, "Who is she?" "A sister from Deimos," Lena explained. "A sister on Deimos?" "Right, you're a product of neogenesis. I've always wondered, how'd it feel when you found out?" "Personally, I didn't care that much. I wouldn't choose to live whatever life I was meant to have over this current life." "You ever wanted to meet your parents?" "No. It'd be better for everyone if I didn't meet them. Imagine aborting a pregnancy, then 20 years later that fetus comes to your doorstep. It would be like seeing a ghost." I never thought of it like that, Mark said before whistling for an assistant robot, a metallic bipedal machine, ordering it to grab 2 cups of coffee from a nearby dispenser, returning a minute later, offering the cups to the 2 officers. Thanks, Lena said to the robot before opening her cup. Thanks? Mark inquired. Oh well. You know us Pacificans and our AI. Lena smirked as Mark chuckled slightly. How about her? How'd she feel when she found out about neogenesis? Mark pointed to Vera. She didn't take it well. I'm honestly worried. Lena glanced towards Vera, sighing before her thoughts would be interrupted by a small holographic figure of an Asian woman in a hanfu materializing on the holographic display table before her. Approaching the Olympus slingshot relay. Shall we hail the operators? The AI asked in a robotic female voice. The officers on board looked through the screens. The cameras captured a megastructure, appearing to be a floating steel needle in the void of space. Affirmative, Lena responded, causing the holographic figure to disappear as a call started. Good day to the hailing vessel. You are in a call with the Olympus slingshot relay. Please confirm your destination and pay the designated toll. All important information is on your screen. A bored tone of a woman echoed throughout the bridge. Vera, please. Lena urged Vera. Vera sighed before speaking to the operator through her neuro. Good day to you, operator. You are interrupting an important international operation. We have an important operation within the outer or cloud regions. I have sent you my data and documents. I assume you wouldn't want to hold a fellow Imperial back, would you? I apologize, Maestra Novikova. Beginning slingshot procedure. The voice on the other end spoke before the call was cut. Looking through the cameras and the holographic table, the crew on the bridge observed a beam of bright light strike the Winter Heart's hull. The vessel's mass warped. A bright blue light blinded the cameras of the ship as the vessel was launched into the Oort cloud region at 50% the speed of light. Warping procedure begun. Destination: the Oort cloud region. ETA: 23 Earth days. The ship's AI voice echoed throughout the bridge as the officers begun leaving the bridge to seek ways to pass the time. Winter Heart data log, January 26, 2088. Lena stirred awake, turning the room's lights online using her neuro, immediately regretting it as the flash blinded her still sensitive eyes. She rubbed her eyes open and readied herself. She exited her quarters, her hair still wet from the shower as she headed for the bridge, but not before picking up breakfast from a food dispenser. The door slid open. Lena walked inside, find Vera speaking to Omar. Lena sat on her chair, eating her breakfast, some eggs and bacon in a box. She looked to Vera again, using her hearing implant to eavesdrop on their conversation. What do you think of this ship? Vera asked the Arabic man as he continued to read the Quran. The artificial gravity feels off, and the food is different compared to what I usually eat. Some are unedible to me. Omar glanced at the box of food with leftover bacon. No surprise there. This is a Russian ship. Russians aren't exactly known for their quantum physics-based tech, Vera muttered as she continued to analyze data. Thousands of words flashed across the screen, only readable with a cybernetic implant. How's that slingshot relay you guys are building on Neptune? Vera spoke with slight mischief in her tone. How do you know about that? Omar stopped his reading and looked at Vera in the eyes with surprise. Well, perhaps I'm not just some irrelevant data reader. Omar sighed softly before continuing his reading as he spoke with a dismissive tone. It's going well. Why are Muslims studying quantum physics? Vera asked to Omar's confusion, wondering what the relation was. Are you implying that the two are exclusive? Us Muslims study such topics to better understand Allah's creations, Omar explained, closing the book he held. You don't sound so sure, Vera accused. About what? Allah. You don't sound sure about Allah. My neuro tells me you feel uncertainty when you mention Allah. It seems to me you're losing faith in your God. Omar looked at Vera, baffled at her accusation and her willingness to start a conflict. Omar was ready to counter her accusation and Lena was about to interfere, but the ship's AI would interrupt. Exiting warp phase in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The voice of the AI spoke before the blue lights which blinded the camera dissipated, the black void of space coming back into view. The crew that had spread out throughout the ship came back to the bridge. Some had pale, cold icy skin from cryogenic sleep. Signal located. We have ping on a ship. Around 8,000 kilometers away, Vera reported, causing all eyes to look her. Mark looked at the ping on the holographic display table and saw the ping, highlighted by Vera. That's around 5,000 miles for you Americans, Vera translated. Proceed, Lena commanded. The vessel cruised towards the location, arriving 15 minutes later to see a still intact scout ship, no bigger than a fighter. I thought Imperials didn't use mancraft, Dmitri pondered. The military doesn't, the Guard does, Vera explained. A team of 20 Marines in vac suits exited the ship via airlock, using cables to attach themselves to the Winter Heart, guiding the scout ship towards a hangar bay's door. An eerie silence permeated the team of Marines. The only sound heard were chatter over communications. Even as the massive hangar bay doors of the Winter Heart opened, the vacuum of space reduced all sound to nothingness. The team guided the scout ship where a team of engineers surged towards the scout ship for analysis. We have located a deceased individual within the craft, an engineer reported over video call. In the background, around half a dozen engineers looking away in horror. Deliver the corpse to the medbay, Mark barked out as the ship proceeded its voyage towards the outposts. Aisha and Vera left the bridge, heading towards the medbay for analysis of the corpse. The crew remained silent for a while. Unease filled the bridge. The crew whispered amongst themselves, wondering how someone could die in such a manner. When Aisha and Vera returned, Aisha looked somewhat pale and in a cold sweat. Vera looked a bit puzzled and confused, taking a burnt metallic object from a plastic bag and laid it on a scanner for analysis. Aisha addresses the crew in a calm, yet somber tone, trying to maintain professionalism. I've conducted a preliminary examination of the deceased pilot. His death was caused by a combination of severe thermal burns and acute radiation poisoning. The burns are consistent with exposure to some form of directed energy. The burns are localized to one side of his body. The radiation levels detected are far beyond what is commonly encountered in space combat scenarios. What about his ship? Why was it still intact? Dmitri asked. The pilot was shot before he entered his ship. The burns didn't kill him instantly. He had a slow death on his ship. The burns ate away at his body as he attempted to escape whatever attacked him, Vera explained as she tinkered with her equipment. So, what exactly killed him? A biological weapon? Some kind of gas? Dmitri continued to ponder. No, Omar interrupted, engaging in a group conversation with the group for the first time since leaving Earth. Omar continued, this seems like some sort of energy weapon, similar to what the Janissaries use. Plasma rifles? Mark inquired. Affirmative, though this feels different. It seems to be stronger than our weapons, perhaps less accurate, like a shotgun. Omar explained as he tinkered with a data screen. How about the ship's black box? Mark inquired. It was wrecked along with the thrusters, Vera explained. What about the man's neuro? Lena asked, looking to Vera who was at work. His neuro is fried. A mix of mental trauma and physical damage scrambled his neuro. Most files are corrupted, Vera explained. Most? Lena inquired. Not all data is corrupted. The man had implants in his eyes. Some video recording data is still intact, Vera answered. Vera scanned through the data, her implants causing her eyes to glow red. Tension enveloping the bridge. We have 3 whole frames. 3 blurry frames. Absolutely useless. Vera snickered. If only I had access to an Imperial console, Vera muttered as Lena approached. Let me see. Lena stood beside Vera who tapped away at console. 3 images appeared before the officers. The first image was a blurry mess of light and static. The second image captured the pilot sitting down on the seat of the scouting vessel. The third image was the clearest of the 3. It captured a scene. An Imperial Republic warship engaged in combat with an unknown vessel in the top left of the screen. The unknown vessel was massive and bulbous, bigger than even the biggest Eurasian vessel. It was a jade color, looking strange and otherworldly. What ship is that? Dmitri inquired, the crew talking amongst themselves. Excuse me, if I may ask, what's that? Aisha interrupted, pointing towards the holographic display table. The scanners picked up a large bulbous object, at least 3 times the size of the Winter Heart. An asteroid, it has no ping, Dmitri said dismissively. An asteroid? This fast? Aisha pointed out the anomaly in its pace. The group looked at the holographic display table again. The bulbous object was coming towards the Winter Heart, followed by other similar objects, some smaller, some were bigger. Turn this ship around. Retreat to the nearest slingshot relay, now. Lena barked out her order as the crew scrambled to turn the vessel towards the nearby slingshot relay. The silence in the bridge was deafening as the crew looked at the unknown object via cameras and holographic projections. Sora, what's the distance between us and the pursuers? And tell us their speed, Dimitri spoke to the ship's AI. The distance between us and the pursuers is 120,832 kilometers. The pursuers are cruising at the speed of 1,249,920 kilometers per hour, the AI reported. Vera realized that she had yet to examine the ship's combat capabilities. She turned a data screen online and snickered when it informed her that the vessel only had 50 missiles with a maximum range of 100,000 kilometers with only 10 rather outdated repair drones. About a minute passed, and the Winter Heart launched all of its available missiles towards its pursuers who were now in range. Each one hit, yet barely made an impact. The pursuers are closing in. Distance between us has dropped to 70,000 kilometers, Vera reported around another minute later. 1,000 thoughts ran through the minds of the crew, interrupted when the vessel shook violently. Thruster 3 has been damaged, the AI reported, yet even a second later, the ship shook again. Thruster 4 is offline, the AI reported as alarms rang. The ship slowed down as the bulbous objects began to surround the Winter Heart. Those are ships all right, Vera muttered as she looked through the cameras. The ship shook again, knocking some of the crew off of their feet. Thrusters 1 and 2 are offline, the AI reported. Blyad, what the heck is happening? Dimitri scrambled to get back on his feet. Vera remained composed, still standing despite the shaking. She looked at the holographic display again before speaking. Whoever these captive are, they want our ship. They already killed us. They're either gonna suck us into their ship or board us, Vera theorized. And just like she predicted, massive harpoons fired at Winter Heart, latching onto the hull and dragging it towards what seemed to be a hangar bay. What do we do? Aisha asked, her voice panicked. The crew watched helplessly as they were pulled into the unidentified vessel. The cameras went offline, static enveloping the screens as they got pulled closer. Send a transmission to Neptune, Vera commanded. Mark typed out a hasty transmission, attaching the important data and sending it. By the time the transmission had been sent, the Winter Heart would be inside the unknown vessel. Assemble all combat troops and assign them to the entrances and hangar bays, Lena ordered as Vera exited the bridge quietly. The crew on the bridge waited and watched the security footage inside the ship. They watched the soldiers assemble on all possible entrances. Where's Vera? Mark inquired, causing Lena to worry while Dimitri looked at the live security feed, capturing a scene of 25 ATO Marines stationing themselves in one of the ship's entrances, a ramp meant to extend downwards. What the heck is happening? An American Marine inquired, asked commanding officer. I don't know. I overheard the crew tells me we are in the belly of another vessel, the German lieutenant explained before being interrupted by a sound of metal being melted. The downward entrance ramp lit up as it was burned open. Weapons at the ready, the German lieutenant ordered. The team watched the ramp be burned open, molten metal dripping down onto the steel floor as the Marines aimed their weapons. After a minute or so, the sound of the melting metal would die down and the ramp would collapse, dislocated from the hinges as a red smoke enveloped the hallway. The Marines steadied their weapons when a slow, glowing projectile was shot into their formation. It looked like a tracer round of sorts. It penetrated the lieutenant's exosuit, burning through his thick armor plating. Hans, a Marine called out as the lieutenant stumbled to the floor. He tried to move to his commanding officer, only to be shot in the face, the glowing projectile burning through his reinforced glass visor. The red smoke dissipated, revealing a humanoid figure. The figure wore a thick, jade metallic armor. A white mask covered its face. Its eye sockets seemed to glow gold. The thing carried a sort of rifle, only without a magazine for bullets. Fire! A Marine shouted. The team fired at the figure with their TK-72 multi-purpose rifles, yet their bullets only ricocheted. More figures appeared and fired projectiles at the Marines, melting their exosuits. A Marine changed the mode of his multi-purpose rifle from an automatic rifle into a slow-firing armor penetration rifle capable of penetrating a tank's armor. He fired at one of the figures, causing it to fall to the ground. Use the armor penetration mode, he said to his comrades before being hit in the stomach, silencing him. Retreat, a Marine ordered, causing the team to lead the enemy deeper into the ship, firing as they retreated slowly, using the walls of the tight hallways as cover. Meanwhile, Vera walked through the halls of the Winter Heart, no longer wearing her formal attire. She now wore a tight black exosuit, her hair tied into a bun, 6 large canisters attached on her back. Hearing the sounds of gunfire nearby, she concealed her head with her foldable helmet and quickened her pace. Vera would end up in a hallway, surrounded by dead Marines and Death Legionnaires from the Imperial Republic of Pacifica. She proceeds onward, only stop when she hears a groan from a dying man who was slumped against a wall. "You're a night witch," a Death Legionnaire muttered as he held his melting chest. His face was covered behind a foldable and visorless helmet, hiding his pained face. Vera looked at camera of his helmet, folding her helmet, revealing her face and analyzing him with her neuro, determining his identity and the fact that he had no chances of survival. The 6 canisters on her back opened, billions of nanomachines came to life. Yuklarai, Amar Amgalin Warso. Vera spoke in the man's native tongue before her nanomachines formed a sharp spike and pierced the man's body, giving him a quick death. The somber moment would be interrupted when a figure in jade armor appeared, firing a slow, glowing projectile at Vera. She moved her nanomachines forward, attempting to dismantle the projectile as if it were a bullet, a futile effort as the projectile burnt through her nanomachines and hit her in the leg, burning through her exosuit. Vera stumbled back, retreating to an intersection in the hallways, hiding behind the wall as she answered a call through neuro. "Vera, where the heck are you?" Lena asked, her voice filled with worry. "I'm on a carrier-class vessel in space, within the Origin system, located in the Milky Way galaxy," Vera spoke sarcastically, analyzing her current condition. The burns she suffered on her leg were easily be fixed by nanomachines, while the radiation that came with the projectile was lessened on impact thanks to a variety of cybernetic implants, the chemicals injected in her body and the nanomachines that were already in her bloodstream. "I'm being serious here," Lena said, almost sounding hysterical. "Are you crying? I'm worried, for God's sake." Vera, hearing the heavy footsteps of her foe approaching, unfolds her helmet and grits her teeth. Vera jumps in front of the enemy, using her nanomachines as a sharp whip to cleave the thing in half. The thing's red blood dripped onto the metal floor as the thing died. "Vera, talk to me," Lena barked. Vera analyzed the dead foe and its equipment. The thing wore primitive armor, similar to a medieval knight, only thicker and stronger. Its armor had 0 life support, AI, or even an exoskeleton, yet its weapon seemed to be a more advanced version of existing plasma rifles. "I didn't know you cared about me," Vera said to Lena, looking to the nearby security camera's lens. Data file in database Imperial Republic of Pacifica, an Asian superstate whose territories encapsulate Southeast Asia, East Asia, and Northwestern Australia. The government is separated into 2 factions, the Imperial and Militant Senate, and the Republic and Democratic Congress. ATO/Atlantic Treaty Organization, formerly known as NATO, a military alliance between a number of nations from Europe, North America, South America, and Africa. Eurasian Union, a military and economic alliance between Russia and a few Central Asian nations. African Federation, a diplomatic superstate encapsulating Southern and Eastern Africa. Federation of the Crescent, a superstate between Islamic nations across Northern Africa, West Asia, and Central Asia. Religion and the state are deeply connected, yet spiritual beliefs do not affect the decisions of the current government. Slingshot relay megastructures owned by the Imperial Republic of Pacifica that allow fast travel between the solar system's regions. Capable of warping a ship's mass and manipulating and accelerating the atomic structure of the vessel, allowing fast travel between vast distances up to 50% speed of light. Neogenesis, a process where an aborted fetus is revived and grown in an artificial environment. Used by the Imperial Republic as an efficient and ethically questionable way to grow the population. Neuro, a cybernetic implant, widely used in the Imperial Republic with an adoption rate of 85%, is integrated directly into the human mind. This technology enables users to access the internet, interface with various technologies, and functions as a mobile phone or computer seamlessly embedded within the brain. Death Legion, Marines, Janissary soldiers who specialize in combat in zero-gravity and the insides of spacefaring vessels. These soldiers are the ones who jump feet first into the fires of heck, often dropping in pods from orbit or organizing boarding parties against vessels. Data Reader, a type of intelligence officer, typically combat-capable and stationed on the front line. Their primary function is to gather, analyze, and disseminate critical data and intelligence in real time with heavy pressure. Night, which a branch OE% at times redacted. This information is undergoing censorship due to inappropriate content error. This topic does not exist.